All right, welcome. Today is day 57. Um, yes, just welcome. It's very late and it's one of those days. I'm trying to figure out how many days recently have I felt like I needed to have like a really quick just like check in. Um, Not that I think it's bad or anything, but I'm just kind of curious now. I'm doing a very different version of this challenge for myself than I've done in the past. So I'm kind of reflecting on just the fact that at least once a week now, I'm like, look, all I can do is just like come and do a quick check in so I can, go and take my butt to bed. I'm trying to pace myself. Um, and so, yeah, today was Monday. It did not feel like Monday because yesterday felt like Monday. Today definitely, it was like, I don't know. I'm feeling really tired. If I'm being honest, I was feeling a lot of like exhaustion today for some strange reason. I don't know why. So I tried to take my time or whatever. Um, but this week, my big goal for the week is to focus on like my programming schedule for the rest of the year. We are going into March in the next couple of days, and I've been talking about recently, wanting to finally get started on. I've been wanting to do some teaching material for some of the open source curriculum that's out there. So that's really a big deal to me because I'm thinking about how that timeline needs to look. Um, and then pretty soon the conference will be coming up. Normally we would have had our Hacking with the Homies conference this month actually. So um, it's going to be in May, but just starting to make sure that stuff is getting where it needs to be. I think I'm already getting folks that are like, hey, okay, I've been talking about people about doing the conference. So now people are reaching out and trying to have follow up conversations and whatnot. So, um, yeah, how's it going? It's going fine. But I think days like today are very important where I'm like, I just am here to check in for a hot second and then I'm about to go to bed because realistically, um, even if all I think about, which of course is not all I'm thinking about, but even if all I think about is okay, I'm trying to maintain this challenge for the entire year, every single day for the entire year. Um, I can't burn the candle from both ends, I guess you could say. I don't know. Um, so yeah, I'm definitely getting ready to go and wrap up my day so I can get started. I woke up super early today too. I woke up way earlier than I should have. um, it's fine, but I'm rolling with the punches. My challenge is live stream every day. So yeah, we are on day 57 of 365 days of code, and that is like, even if we were on 100 days of code, I would only be halfway through. So um, it's definitely now a part of my daily, but I'm still working on like doing this in a consistent way. Um, because I really do, I'm getting a lot out of being here every day. I'm enjoying the process and it's making me think about my content in different ways. I'm meeting like so many new people. Some of y'all that has been hanging with me for like 2 months, like probably never even came to my stream, or are new to my stream maybe in like the past six months. So yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it, but it is a challenge at the end of the day. Yeah, and then like I said, even if I was only thinking about the challenge, of course, I'm not only thinking about the challenge because I have multiple businesses and multiple programs and things that I'm doing. So that's totally fine. I realized this week is a much lighter week for me than it has been for like the past month and a half. That's because I am teaching I'm teaching a program right now for new MVP developer training, but for the past 6 weeks I've been working with a new founder for their building their MVP, and then I also have had my other the other founders that I'm working with, their app, we've been getting their app into beta. So it's been like a lot. It's been really, really busy for me, like work wise. It's been really busy like the past month and a half, 2 months. So last what was it? Was last week demo day? Oh my goodness. It doesn't feel like it, but Wednesday, I think Wednesday was demo day. So this week, like today, Monday, it was kind of awkward because I'm like, I got work to do, but like I'm not under like a time crunch right now. I'm in like the way my schedule tends to go over the past year or so is like I will have to like be heads down, like really focused for a month and a half, 2 months at a time, maybe longer sometimes. And then I'll get like a little bit of a lull, like a little bit of a lighter couple of weeks, or maybe even a little bit of lighter month, 2 months or whatever, and then it'll happen over again. So, yes, that's why pacing yourself is so important. I am not trying to become a full time streamer. I have other business goals though. I mean, I teach, so my goal for my stream is probably always going to be the same, which is that as someone that teaches and helps folks transition into the field, my students, who are adults by the way, never believe that I also struggle with things and have to figure shit out, and like for some reason, because I stand in front of the class and I'm able to present the material, there's just this like assumption that I don't experience anxiety, like I don't struggle with imposter syndrome, or whatever the case may be. Just the idea of who we as software engineers are when we present ourselves in these like well formatted forms of media. Like if you're an instructor, you're going to prepare your material, you know what I mean, before you teach. If you do YouTube content, you edit your content. um you practice the examples over and over and over again before you present them, but that's not reality. So the purpose of my stream is always really to show what the reality is, and hopefully that will help make this career path a little bit more not presentable, but a little bit more approachable to the typical person that's transitioning. That's always my goal. So yeah, this year, I mean, my thing is I just want to be more consistent with streaming, and last year was my first year getting back into streaming for after I have went on a hiatus. So I'm just trying to challenge myself. And I'm trying to, just spend time with folks that are also just on this journey wherever we are in our journeys. Um, this is the real deal. I got like bags on bags on bags on bags, but it's all good. My goal is to inspire others. I would say, I think, yes, I would like to be inspirational for sure. But I don't have control over whether others are inspired. But what I do have control over is the transparency that I can provide into what the lifestyle really looks like. So yeah, it always bothered me when I've definitely had students that are like, you are so gifted, you're so talented, and in all these different ways, but if you don't recognize that, and if you're trying to compare yourself to me because you think that I'm coming across in this certain type of a way, and it's like You didn't see the fact that I stayed up late last night to prepare my material. You know what I mean? You didn't see that I was like really stressed out about trying to know every single little like nuance of a particular lesson just so I could be prepared for any type of questions that could come my way. Like we don't, a lot of times we people don't see what all really goes into being in software or doing development work until you are actually in it. And sometimes people don't even make it that far. So yeah, this is definitely a lifestyle. Um yeah, I know burnout is real. I've been the queen of burnout. So that's why I'm very, very conscious of taking my time and pacing myself. But at the same time, so like type of person that I am, um like I'm happiest when I kind of have like a lot of irons in the fire, if that makes sense. So for me, it's just a matter of like finding the right balance, and also finding the right balance at this phase of my life, because I now have a son, and I don't want to be that person that's like, okay, well, I work, 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 and we don't spend time together, um, or just not enjoying the the little moments that makes life life. Um, so I'm not gonna say I didn't enjoy life in the past. It's not that, but when it was just me, I could definitely like pull all nighters and then be like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna rest today. Like it ain't none of that. Every day I gotta get up every single day and make sure that everything is going well in my household at the same time. Um, you know, so that's the big difference now. In my early 20s, like, cause I transitioned around the time I was about 25. So in my like early mid 20s, especially even going into like my late 20s, I could definitely, work a 9 to 5, or I was working like a 9 to 5 full time software engineer, and then I was streaming at night like multiple times during the week, streaming on the weekends, running conferences, like still doing all all the same stuff I do now. Um, and it was, so it was different because it was like, okay, well, once I turn the camera off, it's just pretty much, me, myself, and I. And especially as an introvert, I had a lot of time to myself to recharge. Now it's a different balance that I'm going for. Um, but I think I'm doing pretty good with it. Cyber, how do you not know this? I feel like you've been around. Maybe you come towards the you come later at night. My son's he usually will run around in here during the daytime. He is a year and a half. He'll be 2 in June. So yeah, I got and he is a very, very energetic, enthusiastic little tot. So yeah, we have it's okay though, cuz I mean, I'm in my early 30s, so at this point in time, I feel like I'm just kind of transitioning to another era. But that also is why I'm in the phase where I'm trying to avoid trading my time for money and invest more in my businesses in a more sustainable way, I guess you could say. And that's really, I do have really great mentors. I have a really great business partner. Um, I have really great like support system around me to really know how to do that in the most effective way. But yeah, like when I was first starting out in as a software engineer, one of the things I always taught, and I still love to teach, but I always taught, in person, and I always taught for different programs and stuff like that. And it's just different. It don't it don't hit the same when when you have to teach, and it's like, okay, well, if I want to, invest in this aspect, this side, it was just really a side hustle at that point. Something I'm passionate about, but also definitely something I use to make extra money. Now it's just kind of like, I don't want to have to always, run live programs necessarily. So that's why you'll see me really investing more in in my website, in my content, and actually having some, like, starting to package up the material that I'm teaching so that it could be on demand and I don't have to always be, live for 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week teaching. And it gives me more flexibility to be able to, spend time with my son and stuff like that. So I'm pretty flexible now because I'm at a point where whatever classes or programs I'm teaching, I determine my schedule for the most part. But otherwise, I'm by the end of this year, a lot more of my material is going to be packaged up. Even when we do this, we're going to do this free code camp, like teaching the free code camp material. But I'm going to make all that stuff available, and just kind of have that live. I think the way I would like to do my a lot of my material in the future is to have on demand, have all of the curriculum on demand, and then just support with like live labs, office hours, that kind of stuff. That's way easier to maintain and way more scalable than having to teach like in person every single time. Because if I wanted three different training programs to run at the same time, I would have to be teaching three different training programs at the same time, versus being like, oh, um, all the curriculum, all the material is there. You go at your own pace, and then, you can participate. I can run a couple lab sessions a week versus teaching live multiple times during the week. So, and then, I'm actually evolving in my personal career. So I'll be going back to school at some point very, 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 very soon. Um, which is why I'm like, 9 to 5 is not 9 to 5 is just not a thing for me right now. What was your mentality like when you were an employee? Did you focus your energy on a job, or did you invest more of your energy on yourself? I always focus my energy on everything. Like I always try to give everything I can to everything I'm doing. So whether it was myself or my job, I think it's not, for me, it's not one or the other. I definitely invested more in my jobs than that I could have put towards some of my own endeavors, but nothing that I would say I regret. I went all in on every job, every 9 to 5 I've had, and regardless of what it was, and regardless of whether it was even when I worked for Wendy's at like 15 to 19, I worked for Wendy's. Like I worked fast food, coming up out of high school and stuff like that before I went to college, and even in my freshman year of college. I'm always the top tier employee. It doesn't matter because I have a strong work ethic, and so I value that no matter what kind of job that I'm in. And that has always been that has always translated over. So I've always put 1,000% effort in. I've always been very proactive about investing time and effort into whatever projects I was working on. However, at the same time, I'm very much about personal growth and development. So if I'm working for a company and I'm trying to, invest in their initiatives, I'm also investing in myself. I'm also, looking to make sure that I'm getting opportunities to go into, advance into different roles that I might not have experience with, or to get to get comfortable and close with clients when we're doing client work, or to spend time and do things that a lot of the other software engineers on my team didn't really want to do. Not that they couldn't have, some people just want to write code. That's okay. But I always been a little bit more like, I want to see like the big picture. I want to understand the business model. So for me, it was definitely both. So like I said, I was working 9 to 5 and doing some really, really highly technical, challenging work 9 to 5, still supporting still supporting like some of the smaller teams that we had, where it was like, oh, we need people to, you know, pre-screen candidates and be a part of the interviewing process, or you know, we need people to come up with just different team initiatives that we want to work on, or oh, we're going to spin off a new team. You know, we need people that's willing to start this new service from the ground up. So I would be that person 9 to 5, but then as soon as 5 o'clock hit, I will also host a meetup and you know, have a meetup, teach a class in the evening. I would usually be at meetups like a couple days out the week. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna probably get a nap in, and then I'm gonna have my live stream. Which back then my live streams was more so gaming, but I'll come home, like have my live stream, and then on the weekends I was planning like the particular time I'm thinking about right now. On the weekends I was planning a big convention. So yeah, I'm like a go hard or go home type of person, all the way around the board. I don't know if that helps. um, I did that at my previous job, but I felt underappreciated, so I sort of started developing work smart instead of hard, and invest in myself. GraphQL days, yeah, Preacher was here for some of those. Well, by the time I was doing that GraphQL, like learning GraphQL and stuff, that was after another phase of burnout. Um, but yeah, I can understand investing and not feeling appreciated, but and I'm not gonna say but, to me, I have been very intentional about the companies I worked for. It's only been 2 years. Oh, it's almost 3 years. I'm like, okay, that sounds right. That sounds way closer. This is the second follow age that I've seen for 26 days. Um, yeah, I'm a newborn. So, and Dre, y'all don't. I think y'all see Dre a little bit more now in the evenings. XAKG, and he's in Discord too. But Dre has been my mod since like dang near my second, maybe my second stream. I want to say honestly, he was here for like my second stream, and he helped me out so much. Like me and him have been cool since pretty much since my the very beginning of my streaming journey. But yeah, I can definitely understand the, you know, if you invest in the wrong companies. I'm not saying I've always loved every situation, every working situation I've had, cuz I've definitely had some questionable ones. Um but for the most part, I've been very intentional, especially after having like some net. I had one not so great experience pretty early on as a software engineer. Actually, multiple, but um, those type of experiences actually taught me. Is more so what that taught me personally was to reevaluate and be more critical of the companies I was working for, the companies I even pursued work with. So yeah, I really always recommend kind of, you know, you're interviewing the company just as much as they're interviewing you. And if you are always working on your own professional growth as well, regardless of whether the company is supporting that, if you're working on that, then you know, it gives you the opportunity. If you feel like you're in a spot where the company is not supporting you the way that you're supporting them, you know, we have to move on. That's with anything in life, honestly. So that's pretty much where I've been on that. Even one of the first see, I don't even be wanting to get into some of that sometimes, just because this is, you know, a public platform. But um maybe we can have some a little bit more off the record, like candid conversations. But I have definitely been underestimated so many times in my career. It's not even funny, but it doesn't bother me. Like like I know myself at this point. So it really doesn't bother me. It's more so hilarious to me. Like the number of times I will walk into a space and people will be like, they won't even want to acknowledge me, or barely want to speak, or if they decide to speak at all. And then when they realize that people are coming to speak to me, then it's like, huh, who's that? And then eventually, for one way or another, they realize like, oh, this is your event. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. It's funny to me now, but it's offensive. Heck yeah, I've definitely been underestimated. Um, I've been in situations where I'm like, I'm the only technical person here, especially early on, right as I was starting to transition into tech. I was like, I'm the only technical person that's actually on the staff, and I make coffee and answer the phone. So y'all do the math on that, but those types of situations are motivation to me. So yeah, I do believe that you can be more intentional about investing in yourself, but it should be a balance anyways. But those are the type of situations that made me be a lot more critical about the companies I work for, um, and what kind of questions and what type of understanding of like the role and the culture that I'm trying to get up front. Because I mean, it's I mean, I'm not going to say it's corporate because I've always worked in the startup space, but regardless, when you work for a company, at the end of the day, you're an employee. Um, so yeah, you never know what you're gonna get. It's just like a relationship. Y'all can date and everything can be nice and cute, but at some point the real you is gonna come out, and the real, that person, who they really are, that's gonna come out eventually. So um yeah, I'm gonna leave that at that. Uh, Inspiring. Oh, I'm inspiring you to start streaming. I mean, it's really not. I don't. I would say like it's definitely work. I think people underestimate what all it really takes, because I don't know if people be thinking like, oh, you just click on the camera and then like it'd be a lot of stuff that you have to manage. But if you like being in community with people, if you are motivated by like, sharing your journey and stuff like that, like I couldn't recommend it more. Um I like live content more so than anything else because it's more natural to me. But some people don't like live. Some people would rather kind of put together a video and talk to camera and then edit it up and post it that way. Me, my stuff never gets edited. My stuff never gets edited, as y'all can see. I'm on a struggle bus trying to push myself into this new era of like edited content for myself. But I love it. I love it. But I'm definitely a community person. Like before we had, our world shut down and stuff like that. Like I said, I would be at meetups like multiple times during the week. Um, I was the organizer for a couple different meetups. Um, love like going to tech conferences. I love teaching. People don't believe that I'm an introvert, and it's like I'm an introvert, but I'm not. Being an introvert doesn't mean I'm shy or that I'm soft spoken. Just really means like I get my energy from recharging and quiet time and stuff like that. So I enjoy being able to like sit and chat, um keep up with everybody else's journeys as well. And it is way easier to live stream now than it was when I first started. I can, as far as the talking about personal work, yes, this is my stream, but also this is my professional platform. So, with that being said, certain things I won't personally discuss here, but maybe in Discord we can have more candid conversations about some stuff, because my content lives on the internet forever. Um, But it says some people also don't like people just because you're doing well. Some people don't like you because you're doing well, but like for me, I'm underestimated a lot because if I'm being honest, like a black girl from Detroit walks in the room, and now a lot of times I'm like the black girl from Detroit that walks in the room with pink hair and a baby, and they're just like, oh, she couldn't possibly be one of the people I actually came here to learn from. It's okay though, because those types of like assumptions and biases are something that I can literally trample on because I've definitely had situations. I've had a lot of cases where I've had, even when I was teaching boot camps full time, I have students like challenge me, and it's like, you don't even know what you're talking about. You sitting here trying to get me to talk about a advanced topic that you don't even understand, and just trying to like, or we walk into the room and it's like the first day of class, and you thinking I'm about to sit down next to you, but I'm about to, but I'm teaching this program. It happens all the time. Now being in the business space, being working with a lot of founders and stuff like that, people will be like, sometimes people really don't want to acknowledge you until they're like, oh, you're a developer, oh, you're this, oh, you're that, oh, okay. Or the people that they already recognize, that they're running up to talk to, then when they see them addressing me, they're like, oh, I might have had you pegged wrong because I just kind of assumed. It's all good though. How was I able to work hard and start family time at the same time? I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. Dating is like a lot, but realistically, coding with strangers, oh my god, I'm not even supposed to be here still. We just chatting. It's okay though. Welcome in, y'all. Welcome in. It's a check-in day. I wanted to address this question that how were you able to work hard and start family at the same time? I didn't actually anticipate doing it exactly in this path, and that's also why I was on a hiatus for streaming for so long. But you gotta pick, I don't know what age range you're in, cyber, but you definitely have to pick what your priorities are. I mean, obviously you can only focus on so many things, and you have to know what your standards are at the end of the day. So, and especially if you think about the whole dating thing, because I'm not here to give dating advice, but one thing I can say personally is, like, I've learned that I have to have, you have to focus on someone who understands your journey, and probably whose path, your path should overlap. My biggest thing, like, y'all never hear me like going really, really too much in depth about it, but I will talk about it from time to time. It's just like, to me, like, God is above everything else. So, and that's something that I've really been like focusing myself on. So I have to trust, I have to trust that process, that growth process in myself, and where that is taking me. And because of the beliefs I have, I've definitely feel like if you have a big calling on your life, if you have demanding work or whatever the case may be, then the person that you're trying to share that journey with should really be sharing that journey on both sides, and y'all should really understand like how y'all fit into each other's picture. So but yeah, me becoming a mom definitely changed a lot about my professional journey. Not that I'm ever going to stop doing the things that I do necessarily, because those are also what makes me happy and what makes me me. But more so now I'm a person that's like, I'm about to take my ass to bed. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. 8 hours of sleep. Like, I used to I used to be like an all-nighter, pull all-nighters type of person. Like, let me just get an energy drink in my system. I'm gonna be good. Like, some of my first client work, I would literally be pulling all-nighters, and I taught during the day. I taught in a coding boot camp during the day, and I would be pulling all-nighters. And it was like, but at that phase of my life, I was like 25, 26. It worked for me. Nowadays it's like I know how to say no to certain things. um and sometimes that's what people struggle with. You want more of one thing, but you don't want to say no to something else. And at some point something is going to struggle if you have too many, if you're trying to juggle too many. Now, juggling is an act that people can do. Some people can only juggle one thing at a time. Some people can juggle two items at a time. Some people could juggle three. Some people can juggle all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? Everybody's different. But at some point, everybody has a breaking point as to what they can successfully juggle and manage without losing their shit. So, if you want to have a family on top of your career and all the other kind of stuff, then that's something that you have to make intentional time for. And sometimes you might not be in that phase where it makes sense, honestly. I was just talking to one of my sorority sisters, and she was basically saying, like, she's about to start studying for school again. I think for her nursing program. So it's a test. She has a test that she has to start studying for so she can pass. And she's just like, yeah, I have to focus on that right now. And so I don't know. I'm off that. I'm off that. I never do social media, so it's kind of pushing outside of my comfort zone. Well, you spend a lot of time here, Cyber, so I found, like, I grew up watching YouTube. I always really actually wanted to do YouTube. And live streaming was a way for me to actually kind of pivot myself towards that. 5 years later, we still struggling, but our YouTube channel actually is live. I'm just not making edited content, but we go live on YouTube every single day. Now I go live on YouTube. Ever since last year, everything I do on Twitch, I also do on YouTube. So I'm finally getting to that point. But I feel like you consume content, at least for me, consuming content is a good starting point. And then you're like, oh, hey, you know what? I have an idea to do this type of thing that I haven't seen anybody do before, or I want to put a spin on that. You get a lot of ideas from being on social media. So if you're not, like, if you don't watch live streams, you don't watch, like, Twitch, YouTube, or whatever, it can be a little bit difficult to be like, oh, what would I do? What would I do if I live streamed? I know this was talking about the whole I'm late. I'm behind on chat, y'all, so I'm catching up. Sorry, Raiders, if I'm a little bit slow to respond to y'all, but welcome in. I had a situation like this on the weekend. I started cooking. Look, you can also catch them off guard and knock them out with surprise attack. Yeah, so the whole thing about stereotypes, I mean, I am a black girl that grew up in Detroit, below the poverty line, like in a single parent home, first generation college student. I experienced a lot of shit just in general. I've definitely, I mean, then I entered a white male dominated field at that. So, yeah, a lot of times I walk in the room and people looking at me like, oh, they don't expect me to be hitting for nothing, but that's okay. That's their fault, because then they be looking stupid at the end. So, I always just try to stay humble about everything. And at the end of the day, I know that a lot of times I am the only one, so to speak, the only one, right? I might be the only woman in the room. I might be the only black woman in the room. I might be the only black person in the room. All of the above. I get to be a representation of that. Like I said, when somebody assumes like I'm just here to sit in the crowd, and then I go up and like start the event, that changes something in their mind. And To me, like I think I've said this before, but I don't care about being that person to like kick down doors, not necessarily literally speaking, but like I'm very active in like trying to break down barriers and bring more people into tech and bring more approachability into tech, which is also one of my biggest passions for actually going back to school to get a PhD. Yes, I absolutely want to do research, and I'm absolutely have always pretty much saw myself going back to do that. But there's also a certain amount of change that I want to affect in higher education that it's hard to do from the outside. So yeah, I'm ready. I'm always ready. Always, always. Does it feel like someone is watching you? We in this mother lover. Y'all came in strong. You are here and you will be rated. Look, I said this was like I'm gonna get up and talk for like 5 minutes, check in, and then I'm about to bounce, but it's all good. And thank you for the follows, Mike Codes, dang, I don't salt. Is it supposed to be salt and pepper? I don't know. Um, Drunk Raccoons, thank you for the follow. Somebody said my beliefs made me quit smoking, gave me the strength. Yes. Be transparent with what you want with the person. Yep, be transparent with the person, be transparent with the company. Just, And but that's easier said than done a lot of times, but it's necessary. I remember staying up late just to talk to that one girl. Look, we all been there. We all been there. It's all it's we are always growing, changing, and evolving. I remember back in the day we used to call it caking, like, oh, you caking on the phone? That's what we used to say here in Detroit. You just spend a time talking to that one person all night. Just that's all you want to talk to. It's all good though. Oh, Dr. T, the best way to success is focus on what's important to you at any given time. Everything will always be there. Yep. Inhan Codes also streams and shares her learning journey as well. I literally started streaming on Twitch because I needed to study every day but never knew of the Twitch software space. DHH is not a rail shirt. It's Detroit Hustles Harder. That's funny though. I used to do Ruby on Rails earlier on in my career. My first job, my first full stack job. But yeah, somebody said I hung a lot in the science and technology category before software and game development. Yes. Yes, because when I first started streaming, we didn't have a software category. We streamed coding streams were in the science and technology channel or category, and then we started once they started giving us like new tags and stuff, then we finally got our own category. That was like a big deal. Our little community is over here is definitely growing a lot, and I appreciate it because it's kind of like its own little world. This is like our own little world on Twitch. And it was funny because I remember when I first started doing coding streams, I would do like coding streams. I would do like some hardware, not really like heavyweight stuff, but like even this little speaker right here that's always on my desk. This was like one of the first like tech streams I did back in probably 2019, 2018. That was the Google had made these kits that you could, it was basically like the cardboard box and then all the pieces you need inside, and then the Raspberry Pi, you put it with a Raspberry Pi, and it's basically a Google Home speaker that I put together myself. And I just remember when I was in that phase, like it wasn't as popular for us to do streams back then that were like coding related, unless you were a game developer. So it's like, I don't know, will people watch this? Whatever, whatever. But eventually, like now, I don't, y'all never see me play games on stream no more. Now I wonder if it's even like, I wonder if I should ever stream my games on here. A vegetable FPS game called Assault and Pepper. Oh, Sergeant Pepper. Because I'm looking at the nine. I'm like, what is that supposed to be? It's a G. I'm usually really good with the Twitch names. Like 99.9% of the time, I get them right. But that one caught me off guard. I'm thinking Salt and Pepper because clearly, are you secretly the 80s hip hop rap group? That's what I was thinking. Um, but yeah, the science and technology category was, even though that's a very broad category. If you wasn't around when we had just that category, it's like pre pandemic type. That category was, even with software being a part of it back then, that category was viewing the maximum viewers you would see in that category was still smaller than what we have in our category right now. It really wasn't like, it was really like a tiny space. Now, yeah, we kind of came and took over, as far as like quote unquote software development. Okay, see, you know the words. Remember when Live EDU popped up as a science tech live streaming platform, then got greedy, rebranded, then died? I missed that whole thing. I missed the whole thing. Man, it's crazy though, because I mean, like, I appreciate it and I recommend people to come, see what we doing on Twitch as far as this community, because it's very different than it is, but it isn't at the same time. Like, I had the fortunate timing of life to where when I came into tech, meetups were becoming popular, and being a part of a meetup was like one of the biggest things you could do. Um, so that's what I see a lot more of in us having like this space online. But the fact that people would like live stream their entire coding journey is like, I don't think I could have did that in the beginning, if I'm being honest, because ooh, the struggle is real. I feel so much more confident about, like, I had to become comfortable not knowing things, um publicly not knowing things. Actually, teaching is something that helped me become comfortable with like publicly not knowing something. um but back when I was first learning the code, I don't know, I feel like I probably would have felt some type of way, like I don't know. So I highly like support and encourage anybody that is actually just like very transparently, you know, showing their journey and what they're going through and how they're learning new things, because it's a very vulnerable spot to be in. Um, and just in general, live streaming is fun to me. Like, we just here randomly talking about our life because so for me, I'm used to being like the only one, so to speak, like, when I'm working on a team or whatever. And here we have an organization called Detroit Black Tech. We started back in 2018, 2017, something like that. And it's just, you like that little extra bit of community goes a very, very long way in feeling supported, and have even sometimes to just like have somebody to rant to and be like, oh my God, like, why do they keep breaking the dashboard every single day? It's certain struggles that we be talking about, or that we we run into that, like the typical person, like, your friends probably don't even know what you're talking about. I have had so many friends. Okay, so one of my, it's really my soror. She really cracked me up one day because I would be telling her about like different stuff that I was working on, like different projects I was doing and things I was like planning to do in my career. This is all like tech related, software related. And she, like, first of all, I think I'm doing a good job, right, of like explaining it in like layman's term. And she would always be like very active and listening to me and all these ideas and I had and stuff. And then one day she told me, she was like, I never know what you're talking about. She's like, I literally never know what you're talking about. But I just like nod and shake my head. And I'm like, that is a really supportive friend. Like, I appreciate that. But also, it took something away once I realized she never understood what I was saying, because it's like, y'all know what I'm talking about. You be trying to talk to somebody about something and it's tech related. If they don't get what you're saying, it makes it hard for you to continue that conversation, because it's like you don't even got to talk back to me necessarily, but if you at least understand, then if you know what I'm talking about, then you understand where I'm coming from. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you just nodding and shaking your head. And I mean, I appreciate that. That's my friend, but I was just like, dang, I gotta give me some tech friends. My mom is the opposite. As soon as I mention anything tech, I can see the lights go off in her head. I had to explain to my mom that I was gonna leave school and go do a coding boot camp. I explained to her the whole process, how it's gonna work. She didn't know what I was talking about, but it worked. So then in the end, she was like, "Oh, okay, cool." But yeah, she never knows what I'm talking about. But then she'll be like, "Oh, I met this person, and then they knew you. Oh, I met this person, and they said you were their teacher," or something like that, and that always makes her excited. But yeah, pretty much. But even with a lot of my friends, if I'm being honest, a lot of my friends are engineers, but they are not in software. So it's only so far we get in conversations with each other. Like, got one friend. I have friends that are like electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, industrial, mostly, chemical. So I have friends that are also in engineering fields, but yeah, most of them swore off coding, except maybe the electrical engineers. All the rest of them swore off coding at some point, and all the rest of us swore off something from their disciplines at some point. Like Kimmy, it was like once it got to like anatomy and physiology type stuff, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna make my way to the door. I actually, when I was in school, I was studying mechanical engineering. So I'm more of like a hands-on person, like physics, computational sciences. Like I could do some chemistry, but physics, statics, it's really statics and dynamics. Trigonometry is like the fundamental. Physics and trigonometry are like the fundamentals for mechanical engineering. I was all about that lifestyle. Biology, I cannot with biology, so it's just so funny because it's like a lot of us, we're like, oh well, we're all quote unquote engineers, but our disciplines are completely different. My IRL friends are into tech. Oh, none of my IRL friends are into tech. I don't think I could ever do a boot camp. Formal education was never good to me. Much better learning on my own. Gotta learn how you learn best. Yeah, everybody's different. I mean, so now like I don't mind self learning. Actually, I took a boot camp after I already knew how to code. Um the boot camp experience for me was more the accountability, and having access to an instructor was like, it was game changing, because that's how I got a lot of my mentors earlier on. The folks that I was learning from were the ones that became my mentors. Um, so yeah, some people really need that support. I just needed. I was trying to learn. When I took my boot camp, I was trying to become like a full stack engineer at that time, and I already had front end experience, but and this was before you could do like JavaScript on the back end for real. So I had to learn a whole nother language, and I ended up learning Java at the time, but for me it was the accountability aspect. It was the like, I wasn't really putting in time outside of everything else I had going on to learn the new skill. So I'm like, I need to sit in somebody's face every day for the next 3 months, so I could really focus my time on that. So it paid off for me for sure. But yeah, it's good that I feel like it's nice, seeing that we are slowly transitioning to something that's a little bit more um, pick your path, rather than being prescribed, everything being prescribed to us. But they all have their trade-offs. I think I failed Trig once and Calc 1 twice in college. Math was not my forte. Math is my forte, and I still failed Trig and almost failed Calc 1. I'm like really good at math. And I still fail a lot of math classes. JavaScript on the back end was a whole paradigm shift. I wasn't ready for it. Started building sites in 2000. So hearing JavaScript and back end in the same sentence sent me to the moon. I'm just still tripping on the fact that, so I went on my back end hiatus, I guess you could say, where I was literally writing like microservices and stuff like that. I was working on a vehicle connectivity platform at that time. So I wasn't doing anything front end related at all. I definitely wasn't writing no JavaScript. And then when I was like, I had to kind of leave that world because it was taking me too far away from where I wanted to be technically. So I'm like, let me get back into JavaScript and like, let me catch up on my language. Cause like JavaScript is like my favorite language actually. And then by the time I come back in, they talk about, we do React. Everything's React. And it's like, now, if you was there back when React first came out, back when we still had Angular 1, nobody was trying, like, people did not want to hear nothing about React. And then I came back and it was like, nah, this is all we do. You don't write React? Oh, I write React. We all write React. And it's just like, okay. Every now and then I love to go back to some maths. I do miss it. Me missing math and science is actually what prompted me to, when I first got to college, I was studying music, actually. I was a math minor, though, because I love math. I just really didn't know what to do when I got to college because for some strange reason that I'm pretty sure I know the answer to, nobody ever was like, hey, you're good at math and science. You could be an engineer. You could be computer science. You could do a million other things. The most that people could really say is like, you could be a math teacher. So, when I went to college, I didn't really know what to do with my math skills. So, I was a music major and I minored in math. And I was like, I really missed the problem solving aspect, like logic, problem solving, puzzles, that kind of stuff. That really is like, that's my sweet spot. I love math. I've always loved math, but I've also always had amazing math teachers. And I think that made a big difference for me, especially going to public school, like especially going to not the best public school system by far. I always had really good math teachers. But yeah, I failed a bunch of math classes at the same time. I got A's and F's. So I don't necessarily think that just because you don't do well in the class, that doesn't mean that, But because I have a high confidence level in math, I feel like that makes me a little bit more biased to be able to say that. If my confidence level in math was way lower, I'm sure I would be to me, I'm like, I'm not a biology person, and I don't treat biology the same way. Like if I fail a test of biology, I'm like, yep, see, not good at bio. But like I failed trig in high school. Had to retake that. The first semester of trig, I had to retake in high school. My first time taking calc in college, because I went straight to calc 1 when I got to college. I'm not sure. I might not have actually failed that class if I would have kept it, but I ended up withdrawing from the class because I felt like I was like struggling. But when I withdrew, I had a WP, which is withdraw passing. But I'm glad I withdrew because I ended up doing a more involved like honors calculus series. And that series, it wasn't just like, oh, if you're really good at math, you take it. It was also, if you need a lot of support in math, you take that. So the first calc, I was like, I'm getting like, I was getting low grades on my tests. I withdrew from that class. I passed all my other calc classes. I had to retake physics, I'm pretty sure. At least one physics class I had to retake. The point in which I knew that I did not need to major in math was when I had to take this class called numerical analysis, I think, something like that. It was like a 5,000 level, my first like 5,000 level math class. That was the point at which it was like, yeah, I don't actually care. Like, I don't care to prove that a number is a number. Once we get into that territory, I'm good. But like computing things, and yeah, so I kind of figured that I'm not like trying to go any further with my mathematical studies, but I wanted to do something with that math. So probably right underneath those is going to be like linear algebra, differential equations, that kind of stuff. So that actually lines up really well with me transitioning to machine learning, because I'm not just interested in like the practical, like practitioner level machine learning. That's what I'm going back to school for, to do research. So being like somebody that's like, I actually always wanted to use my like linear algebra skills, it's appropriate. I was a data scientist for a bit, very interesting. I hope it was interesting in a good way. I was always in special ed, so I'm sure that didn't really help me either. That's too hard, here's something easier. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's we all have these different experiences, and then you never really know if you get the right experience for yourself. Like, for example, one of my friends, her daughter, the schools keep trying to say like, oh, she's slow, she needs help, and ain't nothing wrong with that girl. I promise you. The only thing wrong with her is she too smart. So she go to school, and it's like, they're like, well, she don't respond to nothing, da da da. And it's like, I don't know how to say it in a nice way. It's like she really think y'all stupid, so she just gonna take advantage of the system. Like, if you not making her do no work, she not gonna do no work. Now when she come home, it's not like that, because she know better. I don't play that. But it's just so interesting how you can have completely different experiences, and then some people could be like, oh, this kid is gifted, and then other people could be like, oh, this kid is struggling. Or, you know, I grew up in a public school system that was like not for us. So yeah, I was always great at math and science, and I didn't even know what an engineer was until I was like 22 years old. So you just never know. I definitely am that person that can get on the soapbox about formal education and the foolishness of it. Oh my goodness gracious. Observer Herb, thank you for rating. We bring friends. Welcome, friends. We'd love to relearn calculus one day. That's what I'm getting ready to do. I think my next era of like teaching personally is fundamental math, like college math. I think that's my next phase personally, because like I taught a lot of programming and stuff, but now I have to go back to my math roots. And a lot of my math requirements, I mean, my math credits are really, really old. So I have to redo a lot of stuff, anyways. And even if I didn't have to, I would still do it because, like, since the field that I'm trying to go into heavily relies on those math classes, the fundamentals that I really need, I would redo them anyways, because I'm not sure how I could be really effective in like doing machine learning research without having some fresh math under my belt. But yeah, so I feel like that's probably something I'm going to be teaching a lot more in the upcoming year, 2 years, and beyond. Eventually, hopefully. Not hopefully, but eventually, God willing, and moving into teaching in academia too. But yes, welcome in, y'all. We just really chatting, honestly. I'm Meta, not to be associated with Facebook, who really stole my name, but it's okay. And we're doing 365 days of code here. So today was a day where I'm like, mentally, I really thought I was only gonna be here for like 5 minutes, but we've been chatting. I was just kind of doing a check-in on my progress today. I have experience as a software engineer since about almost 10 years. That's what I'll say. Because sometimes I'm like always trying to pinpoint the years. So my primary experience is in full stack engineering. My primary languages are JavaScript and Python. I have most of my career I have also taught a lot of coding boot camps, and I help people transition into the field. So yeah, over here sometimes we're to just chatting like today, or this is really my lo-fi girl mode. Like, we don't have a mic, and then I just working on projects if I can't share my screen. I have different client projects that I'm working on right now, so if I can't share my screen, then usually that's what I'm working on. Otherwise, my personal learning journey is transitioning into machine learning. I'm getting ready to go back to school to pursue research in machine learning. So you see kind of like a little bit of mix of everything here. So I'm happy for all the new folks that may have not been here before, and I hope your stream went really well, Observer. Yes, 365 consecutive days. It's cray. I don't know. I only know how to do obnoxiously like challenging things. I don't know how to do like be basic. I only know how to be like, I think I said this on the podcast like towards the end of the year. I'm like, I want to do 365 days ago. I'm like that me. Y'all know that GIF or the little boy, he's like getting interviewed and he's laughing and then he just start crying. Like, that's me. It's okay though. 10 years employed or 10 years since I began learning? Yes. Probably 10 years since I began learning. Probably like 8-ish years since I was free. I started freelancing in 2015, I want to say. And then I took my Java bootcamp in order to become a full stack engineer, actually. So I was already working in front end development before then. So it's been about 8 years since I became like a full stack engineer. But I was definitely doing a lot of freelance work before then. Let me see. Oh, you said teaching is a great way to solidify your own understanding. It definitely is. And I learned when I went through phases of my career where I didn't have to teach the stuff that I was learning, I felt like I was not sharp at all as an engineer. Like, I really personally felt like, I bet y'all, I gotta take this earring out because it hurts. I went through phases where I wasn't teaching anything that I was learning, and I did not feel like I knew I didn't feel like I knew anything. Like, it's just it hit different when you have to reteach it back to somebody. And some of the best one of the best educational experiences I had, which was, I was saying I did like an honors calc series, and the way that they have formatted that series, there was a component of our class where we would have to take a lab, and in our calculus labs, we would spend 2 hours working in groups solving problems. But the real learning experience came from the homework, and the homework would be that we would have to take 2 or 3 of the problems that the instructor chose after the end of our session, and we would have to do a full write-up and explain, step by step, exactly how we solved that problem. So that, like, those type of experiences, even if you're not teaching it back to somebody, but like having to really articulate exactly what's happening, that's highly underestimated. Stream went terrific. See, look, you said go hard or go home. Didn't I say that earlier? I was like, that's me. I literally said those exact words. I'm like, I'm a go hard or go home type of person. So but recovering habitual burnout queen. So we trying to avoid burnout, but still have fun, do all the things. I like to do all the things. Have to. Have zero employment experience, but did some freelancing back in middle and high school, which was an experience. I cannot imagine freelancing at that age. I don't think I ever had either of those techniques used. The group session sounds interesting. Yeah. No, one person, no, everybody has to do their own work in that setting, because it's really more so the challenge of trying to, they would give us like probably 10 problems, 8 to 10 problems that we wouldn't necessarily finish all those problems in that session. But at least, in the group dynamic, it's not a group assignment. It's every person is trying to, figure out how to solve the problem. And even if one person is maybe able to help lead everybody else in that process, at the end of the day, everybody has to go home and write up how a specific problem is solved. So it's not like a group assignment where somebody, like one person, can like bear all the weight or something like that. It's more so, it was very helpful in to have like multiple people that you could talk to, bounce ideas off of. We usually needed each other in order to solve the problems. That was a very like unique experience compared to a lot of other like formal education I've had, and that was why that was an honors calculus program, where it was like, are you really good at math? Come to this program. Are you really bad at math? Come to this program. It works for everybody. Seriously, a good curriculum is in how you teach the material, speaking from experience. Yep. Yes. James Jessica, thank you for following. Welcome. I love to teach though. And I found out very early on that I have a knack for explaining technical content without technical jargon. But also I had an advantage in the sense that I wasn't a computer science grad in the first place. So a lot of my colleagues that were also teaching with me, they typically came from computer science backgrounds. So it's like the type of words and terminologies and stuff that they would try to use, it was like they didn't even have like, plain language to explain it. And so when you're in a boot camp, you can't like you cannot teach from a highly technical perspective, at least not on the first day, because nobody's gonna know what you're talking about. you saying words that people have never heard of before. So I was always really good at being able to break the concepts down and using different analogies and stuff like that. So even when I was the least experienced, engineer, I still was the most effective. I was the most effective at teaching because I could put it in terms that people understood. So I always kind of leaned into that over the years. And now I really want to do that in higher education because, like, I get it. It's going, like, some things are going to be difficult, but like when I was in the engineering school, it was almost like instructors felt like they did their job if most people didn't pass their class. And they have, if you've never been in, especially in like an engineering program, a lot of times they have this concept of weeder classes. They call them weeder classes, WEEDER, like weeds, like pulling up weeds. So a weeder class is supposed to weed out the people who basically, quote unquote, are not meant for that field, which is like, okay. So, yeah. So then when you have this concept of weeder classes, then you have this almost like an incentive for instructors, instead of thinking, oh, maybe most people are failing my class because I'm not actually teaching and I just put up a thousand slide PowerPoint every day. They won't think that. They'll think, oh, I'm doing my job because I'm weeding people out. And just even the concept that you need to weed people out is just fucked up by itself. So, like, it's one thing for it to be like, okay, there's a certain level of challenge, a certain level of rigor that you have to go through. Yes, I get it. But like, I don't know. It's just, so, yeah. That really has always bothered me. And that's something that I think that's what I see myself working on in the maybe next 10 to 20 year span of my career, kind of transitioning towards that. Normally my teachers just lecture for 40 minutes then said do all the odd why you got to do the odd problems, because the even ones is in the book, the even solutions is in the book, so you got to do the odd problems. Do all the odd problems on page 41, 42, 43 except problems 50. That literally sounds exact. Yep, that sounds about school in general. Lots of bad teachers, few good ones. And if you go to a school too where, especially if you go to a school like a research university, most of the professors are super smart and very good at the particular field that they study in, but they are not teachers. Like, I don't know what point we started being like, good at something means good teacher. Those are two completely different roles, especially if they're not very intentionally being taught like educational practices at all. And a lot of like I feel like a lot of my instructors, their heart was in the right place, but still they were very misguided. And like I said, the concept of being it's a weeder class. The concept of a weeder class, or some people might understand this. Some universities, it's a curve. You grade on the curve, right? Now when I went to school, grading on the curve was a good thing, because it usually meant when nobody got an A, somebody would still get an A, and all of our grades would get boosted based off of the curve. But what I experienced and started to understand over time is like, at a lot of very competitive programs, grading on the curve can mean that not everybody gets an A, even though everybody got an A. And that is also fucked up. So it's very weird. It's very weird, like the mentalities that have been kind of brewing and growing in the educational space. and it really burns me up. And that's some kind of upside down curve. Yeah, I know there's instances like that, because the thought process is that there should always be a curve. So if everybody got an A, then like what? Like, I don't want to explain it that way, but I basically want to explain it that way. I have had instances where I had teachers who were like, we if everybody got a low grade, then they would do a curve. But if one person got an A, there was no curve. But then the one person that got an A is literally on a full ride scholarship, lives on campus, family sends them care packages every weekend, versus like the 99% of us that was also working, having to pay for tuition and stuff like that. So it's like, well, yeah, they got a fucking A, bro. That's all they do is school. I still gotta go. I still got a whole job I gotta work. And stuff, like, it was just, so I've definitely had those type of experiences. I remember one instructor in particular, literally we had like 2 or 3 kids in our class. We were in a mechanical engineering class. They weren't even mechanical engineering students, but it was a class that they also had to take for their program. But literally the majority of us had co-ops or had some type of work experience that we was doing, worked at least 20 hours a week, compared to trying to, it's like really hard to compete with somebody that's a full-time student and has the luxury to be a full-time student. So if it would be like, literally, it's 30 people in the class, 27 people all scored in the 60% range, and 3 people scored in the 100% or 90% range. So we don't get a curve because, yeah. Just funny. Just so funny. It's toxic by design, especially when they're paying to go there. If they don't like it in the end, that's on them, not for the university to decide. Yeah. A lot of people with high intelligence lack social skills too. Not all, but a lot. And unfortunately, that results in not having the best educators. Yeah, it's a skill set that you have to learn. Like, some people go to school for education. Most of those people are not the ones that are teaching you, especially in like a highly technical disciplines. It's it's interesting because it's like I like I said, I feel like a lot of my instructors, they didn't have ill intentions, but it was misguided. I think school at decline price does not justify cost. Education does not. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to do some research on this because I don't know what point, and we were talking about this a few days ago. I don't know what point the university became career training, because historically university was not, that's not what the university was for. Like, historically, universities was like, is basically like an epic learning center. Me being the type of person that I am, I love to learn, I love to study, I love to understand the theory behind things. I want to go, like, being a researcher, being an academic was a lifestyle. That wasn't what, you didn't go to school. You didn't go to university in order to get a job. Then at some point it started being like, hey, I'll need a high paying job, I'm going to go to university. And now that didn't last very long. They was only able to quote unquote possibly deliver on that for like a couple decades. And now it's like I don't think there's nothing wrong with having degree programs that don't necessarily end in some type of tangible career, but selling that getting the college degree is going to get me a job, and then pricing it in such a way that most people can't even afford it. Yeah. It's fun. But even a lot of the like boot camps nowadays, a lot of stuff with boot camps is kind of troubling to me too, because I never realized that. I didn't realize how bad it was until I started meeting people through like Twitch and stuff like that who have bad experiences with different boot camp programs. A lot of boot camps are extremely predatory. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's just I didn't think about it that way because of where I came up, and I actually worked for a coding boot camp for a very long time. I worked the same boot camp that I learned at. I worked at. I've worked there at different points in my career, and done different roles there as well. So I kind of had this like perception of, what it was like to be in that experience, have that experience. And I'm just thinking like, most boot camps are like that. Like maybe, yeah, there's some predatory here and there, but like it's really bad. That's what I won't say. That's not the complete thing that has prompted me, but the next project I'm working on, y'all, because a lot of people here wouldn't have heard me talk about this, but the next project I'm working on is I'm planning on doing some series, teaching some of the open source curriculum that's out there, because I was gonna be making some curriculum from the ground up, but I don't think that's necessary. I think there's already really great curriculum out there, but I also feel that a lot of people, especially if you're self-teaching, if you can't afford a boot camp, or like you said, the boot camps are predatory sometimes. You might want to follow a curriculum online, but it still can be a struggle not having, an instructor that you have access to, not having just that support, and that guidance. I've highly benefited from having support and guidance in my career, as I was getting started. So like the one that I'm going to start with is Free Code Camp. So basically, just going through and doing some more quote unquote formal teaching. It will really be more boot camp style, but doing more boot camp style teaching and actually covering all of the curriculum, kind of hosting a class for folks that want to go through that material. Yeah, that's the project I'm working on next. So I'm going to start that soon. So that's actually my programming calendar for the year. I keep saying programming, and y'all probably thinking I mean code, but programming as far as like different events, workshops, teaching, that I'm planning on hosting. I need to put the calendar together for the rest of the year. The biggest thing with that'll be like free. I'm going to live stream it. And then I'll have like the edited versions as well for future reference. But the main thing I'm about to do now is kind of go through and make my curriculum plan and see how long does it take if you just want to do front end, how long will it take you if you want to do full stack. And then we're also going to do machine learning, because machine learning that's my little arena. So I have to start branching out into teaching more in the machine learning space too. But I'm like that. I feel like that goes a long way to support folks that are trying to transition, because like I said, I mean, I like a lot of the curriculum that is out here. There's a lot of good curriculum, but it's hard to know how to vet curriculum, how to know if the program is the right program for you before giving them your money. And some of that stuff I kind of took for granted just because I worked in a space where I feel like for the most part they were as ideal as you could want your boot camp to be. as far as the content, as far as how they were determining what to teach, as far as keeping the curriculum up to date, as far as the passion of the instructors, just even as far as the price and the value that you are getting. I'm grateful actually, because I never really realized how bad it was, especially since I took a boot camp back in like my boot camp was in 2015, I think, or 2016. So it's been a while, so of course people are going to be like, oh, that works, and they see that that's, and just try to capitalize on that, take advantage of it. So I always appreciate hearing people's feedback about the different programs, what they're like. Probably the next Crawl Walk Run podcast, I want to talk more. I'm going to be talking about that anyway soon, like how to vet curriculum, which is also like how to vet a boot camp and know if that's something, that you should even put your money towards. But it's a part of a bigger discussion of like what are like my 4 main pillars to like grow your career in software. But like the pandemic made the bootcamp economy, so to speak, much worse, with the influx of people wanting to transition to tech. Yeah, that's fair. Because nobody anticipated that the world changing in the way that it did. And then all these tech companies was overhiring, and it was just like such a glorified path. Let's see. I just got super dark because trying to check out and see what else is going on. Our AI music has not been bad today, y'all. We've been listening to Moobert this whole time. It's progressively getting better. It doesn't get like stuck in loops as much as it used to. Man, y'all are awesome. I appreciate y'all for just hanging here and chatting, because that was... See, this is why I stream, honestly. Because days where I'm thinking like, oh, I'm feeling tired. I'm just gonna spend, a minute or two. I was just gonna spend a minute or two talking about what's going on, and then just kind of move on from there. It turns into a whole hour and a half just chatting. And Devin, thank you for the follow as well. Still need to get my shit together and start playing for roles. The one good thing that came from the pandemic is all of the more remote opportunities. Yes. So I'm gonna pop off in 5 minutes. I literally was like, okay, I'm gonna be here for like a few minutes, then I'm gonna go. Yeah, no, that did not happen at all. But it's okay. I always get a lot more energy being able to, have folks to talk to. And I was gonna say, because I'm no longer work on a full-time engineering team, it can be very isolating at times. It's isolating in a different way because I'm like, I don't have anybody else that I typically dev with. All my projects I'm solo on those projects. I have one client project right now, where I'm technically not I'm not the only technical person involved, but I'm the only one that's actually building on the platform. So I do have like somebody to talk through ideas with, but at the same time, like day to day, it's just me. So yeah, that's why I'm like I appreciate being able to have like the community we have here. But I legitimately, because I'm doing this 365 days, and my goal is literally to stream every day. So some days, if y'all following me, some days y'all will see me pop up. And I have like maybe 2 to 3 streams that I did from my bed. Like I don't even feel like getting back up and going back to the computer. We about to check in like right here on the phone. Because I use Streamlabs OBS, and then they have an app too, like phone app. So I have definitely, probably what, last week, or maybe in the last 2 weeks, I've definitely streamed from my bed. So yeah, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. But it's always good quality, um fun experiences with y'all. I must say that. Commitment. When you it's something about it, I don't know, maybe for me at least, it's something about saying I am definitely doing this thing, and then just kind of sticking with it. So that's why I like that I'm doing 365 days of code over when I did 30 days or 100 days. Because in those other challenges, it was kind of like, am I going to do it today? And then if I didn't, I would usually have a rule for myself. Like either I had to start over, or I would give myself a day. Like I would have to make up days if I missed days. But being in a phase to be like, it's an all or nothing type of thing, it's very different for me. It's like it happens one way or another, even if I have to get back up. Like the other day, I went to sleep by mistake. I got back up at 1 o'clock in the morning and came in here, and we got our stream in. I'm actually personally, this is working well for me, because I need like strong pushes. I need like, I don't know. It's something, if it ain't like exciting enough, if it don't like get my my heart racing a little bit when I think about it, it's probably just, it's not gonna do much for me. I don't know if that's describing it well. But because a lot of times people are like, oh, you all, like, I do a lot of extreme stuff, but that's just the type of person that I am. I'm only ever doing 20,000 projects at a time. I'm only ever picking like super challenging, great, crazy things to try. I'm trying to see. Y'all, who should we raid? That's really what I'm trying to see. That's why it's dark. I do my best work late at night. Fewer distractions, something calming about the night. Yeah, I am typically a night owl. But that's something that I've had to transition from after having a kid. So like somebody was asking that earlier, like, you know, the differences in continuing to do what I do, but also having a family. I have to go to bed because he's going to get up regardless. And when I used to, so back when I was like working, I had a 9 to 5 and I would stream in the evenings. I would work from 9 to 5, right? Well, I really worked from like 10 to 5 because the struggle was real. But I used to always make it to stand up, as long as I made it to stand up. So I would work all day. And then I would probably do a meetup in the evening. Then I'll go home. I would take a nap because I'll be exhausted. And then I'll get back up probably 11 o'clock at night. And then I'll stream. And I'll honestly be up until like, sometimes I'll be up until 4 or 5 in the morning. Just because by the time I got on stream and kind of got into the flow, like it boosted my energy a lot. And then I'll be like, okay, now I have to get off so I can get a little bit more of a nap in before it's time to go to work. And I would do that over and over and over again. No matter how long I stay up during the day, typically it's easy for me to stay up late. But yeah, sometimes I stay up to like 4 or 5 in the morning. I stay up to like 6, and then I started hearing him talking. I'm like, oh my God, that was a bad idea. It's a bad idea. It's okay though. I'm trying to embrace being a morning person. I think of being a morning person is really just being a night person, honestly. Like the other day I woke up at 1. Technically I had already slept 8 hours because I went to sleep at probably like 6 p.m. I had slept like between 7 to 8 hours. Because I went to sleep between 6 and 7 and I woke up at 1 in the morning. So I didn't really go back to sleep after that. It was kind of like I started my day at 1. I took a nap at like 7 a.m. between 7 and 8. So I don't know. Maybe there's somewhere in here where I can just make myself feel better about being a morning person. Been trying to spin my schedule around, but somehow it keeps reverting back to night. Yeah, that's why I'm like, I'm trying to be more fluid. So basically, say like a day, like the other day, I went to sleep at 6, right? So if I went to sleep at 6 o'clock and I needed to get into bed at 6 o'clock, I was tired. So I went to bed at that time. When I got back up at 1, I could have went back to sleep, but by the time I got up and was on stream for at least an hour, I was up. You know what I mean? I had a solid base under a solid amount of sleep under my belt. So I think I've been trying to more so embrace these like non-traditional schedules, where it's like maybe I do get up at 2 or 3 in the morning if I go to sleep at 6 o'clock. And then since I have a little bit more flexibility, I can usually take a nap during the day. So around 11, 12, when I've already been up for damn near 12 hours, yeah, I could take a nap at that point. And kind of plan my day around that. And then that's, I've been focusing a lot more on figuring that out, because once I start studying again, getting back into school, I think I'm not going to, it's not going to be more of a traditional schedule. It'll be more so just trying to make sure that I'm able to balance out my work commitments, because a lot of my work commitments they come and go. Most of the time my schedule is completely flexible. Then I might be in a phase where we're doing the MVP program. MVP is minimum viable product. So we might be in a phase where we're doing that program. And that's like, okay, that has dedicated times, dedicated like schedule, whatever. Sometimes I do training. My training right now, all the trainings that I do are typically live. So, those have dedicated schedules. Maybe meetings here and there where I have dedicated schedules, but otherwise I have more flexibility around my how everything fits together. So I'm like, yeah, I think there was a phase a few years ago. I just started embracing it. I would literally come home and I would go straight to sleep after I got home. And then I would wake up at like 1 o'clock in the morning and just be up all night. And that was like stressing me out. And then after a while, I started just embracing it. I was like, oh, all the stuff I thought I was going to do when I got home from work that I didn't do because I went straight to sleep. When I got back up, I would work on something. And then eventually I'll be sleepy enough to go back to bed. And then I'll just basically take a nap and then get up and go to work. So I was still getting my full night's sleep in. I just wasn't getting it in at the same time that other people would sleep. If I get up at 1 a.m., I'll be asleep by like 6 p.m. Yeah. So, just be, I'm learning to be a little bit more flexible and open-minded. I think I'm very flexible with things, but I think I'm not sometimes I find that I'm not as open-minded as I would like to think that I am. So that to me is like a difference maker. The day before yesterday, which is probably another reason why I was like tired during the day today, on Sunday. Was that Sunday? Yeah, I woke up at 1. I woke up at 1 on Sunday. I woke up at 3 yesterday. Last night. So Saturday night between Saturday night and Sunday morning, I woke up at 1 a.m. and I basically stayed up. And then I went to bed early, relatively early, on time ish. So then last night I woke up at 3 a.m. and then I never went back to sleep. Well, I did, eventually. But I was up at 3 a.m. So like around 3 in the afternoon, I took a solid like 2-3 hour nap. And then I got back up and I was still, functional or whatever, but I never came back in here. By the time I put my son to sleep, it was like 7 o'clock. That's when I just was like, you know what? I'm not feeling, I did not have the energy at that point to get on stream. So I'm just rolling with the punches. That's why y'all see, I don't really have a schedule. 365 is my schedule, y'all. I'm gonna be here every day. That's my promise that I can make. But I cannot commit to a time right now, especially not even knowing how the days are going to work out. Just as long as y'all see me, y'all gonna see me every day. So usually if you see me this late, like it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. When y'all see me this late, I usually don't talk on mic this time of night. Usually when you see me this late, it's like this is lo-fi mode. Especially if I can't share my screen. During the day, usually if I'm learning something, then you'll see what I'm working on, or if I'm working on a personal project, you will see my code. And we'll chat more like this during the daytime. Usually about once a week, we do a live podcast. But I haven't even been counting the podcast as my 365 code stream. So technically, a few times a month, I do 2 streams a day. And yeah, you will see me do, if I'm not sharing my screen, usually when I'm not sharing my screen, I'm working on client work. I have 2 main clients right now. I probably will start to cap it off at this point because both of them are it's 2 startups and both of them are they're very high growth potential, and they have a lot of support behind them. So that's probably where I'm gonna max out, if I'm being honest, at the moment. And then so you'll see me either like doing client work or studying, getting into machine learning. I actually have a machine learning project coming up, so that's gonna be fun. And then my whole goal is around content, really building out my YouTube channel and building out my my blog, my like personal site online. So it'll be easier for people to find like all the different content that I make, the different podcasts that I host, the different courses that I run, and the organizations that I'm a part of. Some days I'm lucky to roll out of bed and you're doing 2 streams some days. Wish I had that kind of energy. You don't really, if I'm being honest, I feel like it comes across as like I just have that energy, and it's more so I just decided that that's what I'm going to do. I wish I had that energy too. That's why my eyes be on here with bags under my eyes sometimes. It just is what it is. Like, I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation probably, but I think I present very well on stream, so to speak. Like, I have a lot going on. I be exhausted a lot of times, but I also made this commitment to myself. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. Because I keep saying that 365 days to me was easier. The reason why I've been saying that is because, if I'm being honest, I hardly ever have the energy for it. And I always have a reason, like I always have a valid reason why I might not stream any particular day, whether it was a long day, I had a lot of work to do, stuff going on with the baby, stuff going on personal, whatever. I always have a reason not to stream. But then I never get to stream. If I go with that, I would never do it. So that's why, to me, when I was doing like 30 days, 100 days, it was harder to do that than it is to do 365. Because 365 to me is just like, you just do it or you don't. Like, the day that I miss, the day that I decide not to stream is the day that my challenge is over. And to me, that, like, it's harder physically, but mentally it's easier. Because I don't have to wrestle with, hey, am I going to stream today? And that cognitive load, to me, like, releasing that cognitive load makes a big difference. So it sucks, but it's like, it's just kind of like, it's kind of like going to work at some point. Like, at some point in the day, like, if I stay in the bed any longer, I'm not going to make it to work today. That's kind of how I look at it. But by no means is this just like coming naturally to me. I'm really good at pushing myself through challenges. This is a growing phase for me, for sure. Last year, I was really proud of myself for getting back into streaming last year. But it was a lot of days that I didn't stream, that I planned on streaming just because of life. And I don't like that. I don't really like, I like to be flexible, don't get me wrong. But the type of level that I aspire to personally is just like, it's always going to be a reason not to do something. And then ultimately, like, it's, everybody's different. Everybody's motivations is different. For me, I'm not like, oh yeah, I took a day off, I feel great. A lot of times, what makes me feel great is following through with the thing I said that I wanted to do originally. And even if that means, like I said, now I'm at a point where I don't pull all-nighters in the same sense that I used to. Now, you might catch me being up all night, but that's after I legit been asleep. So even now, I'm up right now, but I was in the bed before the sun went down. I slept like 3 hours this afternoon, right? Because I told you I got up at 3 a.m. I slept 3 hours in the afternoon. After I've been up for like 12 hours, I took a 3-hour nap. And then probably around 6 or 7, I went to sleep. And then I got back up at 11. So I'm getting sleep in, just in odd times. So I don't feel like I need to push myself and like sacrifice sleep or sacrifice like my health, sacrifice like my family time. No, that's a no for me now. But I do have to definitely push myself, especially like, I deal with anxiety, I've dealt with depression, and like it's a lot. And not even to go off on a tangent, but especially because depression is like a situation I've dealt with in multiple occurrences throughout my life. That's one of those types of challenges where if you just succumb to it, you just go further and further down the drain, if that makes sense. Like, you spiral down. You have to actively like combat the symptoms that you're having. You know what I mean? Like, you have to, I'm used to being like, I have to actively get myself out the bed, otherwise I won't get out the bed, that type of thing. So it's kind of like, that's the approach I'm taking to this. But shoot, I'm not special, y'all. I be exhausted. I got bags under my eyes right now. Well, they kind of gone now, but they was here when I first got on the street. Blog, website. All the links on Twitch are in the they're not in our about. They're in the header on our pages. It's off to the right hand side, like not under the panels, but the little about section where it tells you our followers and the little bio, and then there's it should be a link. Let me see. It's metadevgirl.com though. It's pretty easy. Oh dang, my website is not up there. Crazy. Hold on, let me see. I'm gonna put it in there. GitHub, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. How do I edit this? Probably because I just redid my site in the fall, so that doesn't surprise me actually. Where my links at? I don't know where they are. Oh, here we go. Channel, about, bio. Oh, here we go. Wait. Oh, I can only have up to 5 links. I guess gaming YouTube is finally getting. Oh, you know what we can get rid of? We can definitely get rid of Twitter, because I don't really be on Twitter like that. Thank you for saying that, because in my mind that was definitely there. And we will put this up here, and we'll put this one, then that one, then that one, then that one. Be sure to include your Twitch so I can find you on here. Was beginning to think Frank or Z or BTTV was hiding them. Yeah. Atomic Habits is right here. It's literally on my desk. Yeah, I do like what he talks about in this book. This is a really good book, y'all. What's on my desk right now? I have a John Maxwell book that I'm trying to start. I actually started it, but I haven't really gotten any progress in, besides like the first chapter. The Leader's Greatest Return. This is about investing as a leader, investing in other leaders. Atomic Habits is about making small changes to get big results. Then I have 2 other books. I'm not a reader, but I started buying books and surrounding myself with them to make reading more readily accessible. Also bought a Kindle and an iPad mini. Yeah, I like I'm a really big fan of Audible. Actually, here's the If anybody wants to find the audible for Atomic Habits. So I go back and forth. I'm a hard copy type of person. I prefer like print books and stuff like that. Um Notebooks, like I still use paper. Like there is a literal desk calendar. That's what this white is under my on top of my mouse pad. So I do prefer to have like physical books, but at the same time I really enjoy audiobooks. um Most of the audiobooks I listen to is more like professional development, personal growth type of books. I do have like a couple like more so entertainment based books, but I like those because it's like, okay, well, when I'm like cleaning up or, sitting doing something that doesn't require like my extreme focus, then I can actually get the content without having to sit and physically hold the book. But it's something different about being able to sit and like physically hold the book because you have to have your attention on it. So I kind of go back and forth between the two. Spotify gives account owners 20 hours of free audiobooks. I haven't I stopped using Spotify in the past couple of years. I just kind of leaned more into Apple Music cuz I get it for free now. Um but I was so hardcore Spotify for so many years, and that sucks cuz I never had audiobooks. I don't think I'll go back to Spotify though, if I'm being honest. But that's good to know. I wish programming books could be audiobooks, but code, yeah, it doesn't convert well. There are some books that are in audio format, and it's like, why would I ever want this as an audiobook? Like, I like, of course, like supplementary is good. You know what I mean? Like, if for learning purposes, if for your own personal reasons you need the audio format as well, that makes sense. But it's like you can't get the code. You cannot really process the code in the same way. um but there's certain like more high level books I would definitely get audio. I have a lot of audio books, and I just got an email that says I have 5 credits. Don't nobody want no 720p source. Why am I streaming in 720p? Am I streaming in 720p, or is Twitch putting my stream in 720p? Hold on. Let's go check on YouTube. Cause what? It's so random, y'all. I just noticed that it said my source was on 720p on Twitch. All right. Yeah, I'm on 720p. That's crazy. Okay. Well, I will be fixing that because I didn't even know that was happening. Things like system design or pragmatic programmer will probably do all right as audiobooks. Yeah. Um Ooh, speaking of not necessarily audiobooks but PDF, if you are a Java person, Humble Bundle is having, where is it? They have a Java bundle. I'm about to get it. It's like $25 for the whole set. Those are like, EPUB, PDF. I don't know if they do PDF. I think they do though. So ebook, not audiobook. It's a O'Reilly. Here, I'm gonna share my screen for a second. Yeah, this Java 2024. Java is a language, probably the language I have the most back end experience in. Java is also the same language I actually took my boot camp in. Just not my favorite, but realistically, I do like to keep my Java current. And this is a lot of good Java books. Head First is so good. Um, and I'm a big fan of O'Reilly books in general. So I just had to throw that out there. Did some Java in college, though most of my backend knowledge is in PHP. That's crazy. I've done a lot of PHP and I don't know PHP. Cause I did WordPress and I did Laravel. I did some Laravel work too. And I would never claim that I know PHP at all. Edge has natural voices in their TTS option, so I open PDFs in Edge and have it read it to me. Yeah, I don't know nothing about Edge. I do have a PC, but I don't use it if I don't have to. For gaming, I just use it for gaming and streaming. But it's not even plugged up right now since I moved my desk like a month ago. Damn near at this point. And it's not in my I never re-hooked up my PC. You have Head First Go. I love Laravel. WordPress can get lost. WordPress is not gonna get lost. That's the thing. Nobody loves WordPress, but WordPress, you know, they're good at they're good at what they do in some regards. Actually, WordPress is really good. The way we maintain WordPress is not though. But of course, yeah, Laravel is artisan framework. I actually really liked working in Laravel. I liked Laravel and Rails were like my favorite frameworks that I've ever used. But professionally, my most of my back end experience was in Java. I would say I spent more time in Java than any other language on the back end. But I've done Ruby, PHP, Java, JavaScript, Python. Maybe something else I'm not thinking about, but I think those are the main ones. And then they got the fresh Head First Java. So yeah, I'm gonna get this. I think I'm gonna get this bundle because, like I said, I like to keep my Java fresh. I have Head First Kotlin. I think they have a Head First Kotlin book, if I'm not mistaken. When I was on a team that, yep, I got that Head First Kotlin book. I was on a team that we did a lot of Java. Excuse me. And then we had a new teammate come in who was like, "Hey, we can like convert all this stuff to Kotlin." And I was like, "Oh, okay, sure." So then our whole code base was like turning into Kotlin. So yeah, I did WordPress development back in 2005, 2008 by get lost. I just mean I don't ever care to touch it again. Oh no, I totally understand. I don't care for PHP at all. Turned down several clients who wanted WordPress done. I mean, I don't know, like I think I had a bad experience with WordPress until I really learned actual WordPress development and wasn't having to fight with other people's ideas of WordPress development. I really enjoyed it actually. When I started just building themes. Yeah, when I first I did a lot of free. So by me starting out freelancing and front end development, yeah, I did a lot of WordPress at that time, and I didn't really enjoy WordPress until I was far enough along that I was actually doing custom themes with no child theme, no nothing. And that's when I started to really appreciate it. But PHP as a language, I don't really prefer to do anything PHP. So even Laravel, as nice as Laravel was as a framework, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good actually. Let me see. All right, I think that we are going to get ready for a raid. Raid. Okay. I was building themes and custom plugins. Wasn't my forte. Wasn't a fan of the way WordPress was written or how different parts of it worked. Perhaps it got better after I left, but I did. I mean, that is completely fair. That is completely fair. Because that, like I said, I'm like, I don't even want to touch anything PHP related. I don't really love Java, but I spent like a few years doing Java. Java is it is a good solid language to learn, even if you hate the verboseness of it. Actually, was gonna move to Rails. Yeah, Rails and Laravel are kind of in the same ballpark, I would say. Definitely. Ooh wee. So I have not gotten a chance to see a stream from Time and Joy before, but we are gonna raid over there today. So I hope y'all will show some love, and I'll be back. I'm always here. Every day I'm here. So I appreciate everybody for following. And we will, let me see, today is Tuesday. Yeah, I'll be back today for more chatting. Y'all have the same keyboard. All right, bye everybody.